Mm,
Good
Let,
morning.
let me share my screen. Everybody, could you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
You see the title goes AC circuit for analysis. So as you know that we were discussing about AC circuit, mainly the sinusoidal responses. Today we will be looking the power analysis. So when you studied the DC circuit, in that circuit analysis on course, you just multiplied voltage and current, and you said that is the power, and you expressed in watt. But here, in case of AC circuit, it is not just only one power. There are varieties of power. For example, as you see, I have written down the title on call instantaneous power. Other is called the average power. And then see the fourth bullet, complex power. And that complex power has again two components. One is active or real power, and then the other one is reactive or imaginary power. And then I have introduced a new term, the power factor. So therefore, as you can see, because when you study DC circuit, it only involved the resistance in the current or the voltage analysis. I mean, if we studied somewhat RL and RC transients, that is different things. But when you calculated power or you calculated voltage current in any branch based on a DC circuit, it only involved the resistance component. There was no inductance or capacitance involvement. Consequently, there was no any reactance term, capacitive reactance, inductive reactance, or impedance, or susceptance. There was no phase angle. There was no leading lagging concept. Consequently, you only use the power multiplication of voltage current. But once it is AC, especially you see the fourth bullet, the complex power. I mean, soon I am going to explain what is this. So complex power has two components. Because you see, for example, in the impedance term, impedance G equal to R plus J XL minus XC that you have learned, or in the admittance, they have both real and imaginary component. Accordingly, there are two types of power, real power and imaginary power, which we'll call in electrical engineering term active power or the reactive power. So therefore, we will be looking these things, their definition and their mathematical representation, and then followed by some numerical example. And then everybody see the third bullet. Again, I will explain soon. Effective or root mean square, that is RMS value. So this means that, for example, so everybody know that at your home, what is the voltage? That is 120 volt, right? That you know, like between phase and neutral, that is 120 volt. So that voltage is actually this effective or root mean square value. So you all know that AC has the sinusoidal waveform. It is sine or cosine waveform. But when we say 120 volt, we do not think about whether it is amplitude or magnitude or other thing. We just say 120 volt. But actually, in engineering term, that is the effective or root mean square values, or simply it is called the RMS value. So therefore, today I will show you that, okay, how to calculate that one, how I got that 120 volt. But if you see the amplitude, then actually it will be 170 volt. But we do not say the amplitude amount. We simply say it is 120 volt. That is the effective value. So therefore, starting from today, throughout your life, you have to remember that that voltage by default, when we say 120 volt, that is the RMS value. So I am coming those points on. So therefore, first everybody look the instantaneous power and then average power. What is that? So therefore, let's go to that next slide. So everybody assume that you have a circuit. You have a AC circuit, there is voltage and current flowing through it. So therefore assume that the voltage expression is Vm cosine of omega t plus theta v in time domain. And the current flowing through that circuit is Im cosine of omega t plus theta I. I just use the different angle to indicate voltage and current. So therefore their instantaneous power means just the multiplication of voltage and current in time domain. I mean, or in other words, it is similar to the power that you have calculated in DC circuit, multiplication of voltage and current. But in this case, because this is AC, as you can see, it is cosine function, and there are phase angle. So including everything, if you multiply voltage and current, that is called the instantaneous power. And that instantaneous power means that is the time domain function. You see, I just multiplied these two. So this means instantaneous power means the power value at any time t. That is the meaning. So therefore, if I just a little bit move forward, see the second line calculation, because there is cosine of omega t plus theta v and then multiplied by cosine of omega t plus theta I want to apply trigonometric identity. So therefore, to apply trigonometric identity, everybody know, if you have the 2 here, like 2 cosine of a cosine b, then you can say that is cosine of a plus b plus cosine of a minus b. So to do that, you see this Vm is this Vm. I took half here so that I can multiply by 2. Because if I multiply by 2 here, then I have to put half so that 2 will be cancelled. It will be the same. So therefore, everybody assume that it is 2 cosine of this function. So from there, I got this one. Cosine of this omega t plus omega t 2 omega t plus theta v plus theta I plus cosine of this minus this. So omega t is getting cancelled. So theta v minus theta I. Everybody, could you follow me? Do you understand this second line?
Yes.
Yeah, this is just the trigonometry. As I said, if you have the 2 here, 2 cosine of this and this, that's why there is half here. Okay, so after that, you see the third line, I just organized it. Half VMIM this again plus then half VMIM this one. I just multiplied by half VMIM. So therefore, this is the instantaneous power expression. Now, everybody listen to me. You are studying AC circuit or we are learning AC circuit. Then if someone asks you, hey, what is the power in this circuit or what is the power value at your home? Then you have to answer in that way like, okay, at my home, the instantaneous power is this thing. Like you have to tell this whole thing, which is very inconvenient because it is the time function. I can't answer in that way. And always I can't deal in that fashion because it is dependent on time and then cosine function. So therefore, AC power is not always expressed in terms of instantaneous power because it is difficult. I mean, theoretically, it is the correct thing, correct form, but we cannot always deal with this one. That's why we have to make the average power, average of it. Because you see that, let me just a moment, let me take you to the board, what I'm saying.
Dr. Ali,
Yes.
when we're taking exams and we're doing sinusoidal power source, are we gonna have available a handout of trig identities?
Yeah. I mean, I will allow you, like you can keep 1 or 2 pieces of paper writing down any important equations.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, trigonometric identity. You can make those available in front of you. That is fully fine. Okay. So everybody see what I was telling that for example, because we notice that it has the time component for the power value, I'm plotting that for instantaneous power. And in this axis, that is t. So sorry, like I got this type of response. The instantaneous power that I, that calculated, it will look like that kind of, that expression. So therefore, it is difficult to express with respect to time domain and always by telling that, okay, it is sinusoidal or it is the cosine or sine waveform. That's why we have to make the average. What is the average of this power? Therefore, for example, you see, this line is the average power. So therefore, now how to calculate the average power? To calculate the average power, you have to consider just one time period. For example, you see, this is one time period t. Over a time period, make the average. What is the average value? That is the thing I was telling you there. Now go back there. Okay. So this is my instantaneous power. Then I am making the average power over a time period. Therefore, everybody see what I have written. Average power 1 over t integration of 0 to t p dt. So this means that for a time period, what is my instantaneous power that I am integrating, and then I am dividing by that time period. So then you can say this is the mean value or the average value. Okay, then move forward. So therefore, this is my p value, this whole expression, and then substitute that value here. You see, and then everybody say what I did here, like I first wrote down this term. So did you notice that this term does not have any time component? Time is involved here. 2 omega t is here. This is cosine function, but at least it does not have any time function. So this will be just a number. If you know what's the angle difference, theta v minus theta I, it will give just a number. So that's why, like first I have written down this term inside the integration. So therefore you see that term dt, then plus again this term. Now, everybody see, when you have a cosine or the sine function, what is its average? Its average is 0. Therefore, for example, once again, let me take you to that whiteboard. For example, you are looking at voltage waveform, just an example. This is your 0 value. This is the time function. For example, this is the sinusoidal waveform. And this is, the positive peak, and this is the negative peak. So therefore, what is its average value? Can you guess what should be the average? Because for example, this is 100 volt, negative side is also 100 volt. Therefore, because this is positive peak, negative peak, ultimately the average is 0, because it is plus and this is minus. If this is 100 volt, then this is minus 100 volt. So therefore, ultimately average is 0. So this means that for AC circuit, when it is pure sinusoidal waveform, whatever it is voltage or current, its average value is 0. You don't need to integrate. Just by looking, you can do that. That thing I am telling. So now go back to that expression. You see this one? So therefore, ultimately, because you are finding the average value. So that this is the cosine wave for, this part. So therefore, I don't need to do anything. Its average value is 0. So I will not deal this portion because this will be 0. So only I will be dealing with this portion. So therefore, everybody see, like, because this thing, the whole thing is independent of time. So whole thing will go out of the integration area. So this 1 over t, and then this thing will go here. So only it will be t after integrating. And then if you put the limit, lower limit 0, upper limit 0, ultimately it will be t T, and then T will be cancelled. You will get P average this one. Therefore, now see the average expression. It does not have any time domain function. It is independent of time. So therefore, this makes sense. That's why in AC circuit, when you will be solving numerical problems, you will be dealing with voltage, current, power quantity. In most cases, you will be using this expression. I mean, there are other expression that I am coming soon, but mostly you will be using this expression. Average power is half VMIM cosine of theta V minus theta I. So from where you will get this one? You will be getting this one from the phase, or what is the phase angle of voltage and what is the phase angle of current. And then you will just subtract, and then this thing will be multiplied. Therefore, everybody notice one thing, that when you dealt with the DC circuit, you just multiplied voltage and current. You calculated P equal to VI. But today you are noticing VMIM and then cosine of theta V minus theta I. So this means this cosine thing is involved. And then there is another term, that is the half. Now these quantities you can easily guess. I got VMIM from the original expression of V and I. So what is that VM and IM? Those are the amplitude. Those are the peak value of the waveform. Now there is another way of expressing this on, like in terms of this RMS quantity. If I express in terms of RMS quantity, then there will not be half. It will be like VRMS, IRMS, and then this component. So I am coming that thing later. So at this point, everybody just keep in mind this equation. From today, you will be remembering or try to memorize this equation. This is the equation that you have to use to solve any numerical problems, to define, to calculate the average power or the power. Now, everybody see that this theta V minus theta I, that depends on the component, whether it is inductive or it is capacitive or it is resistive. So therefore, everybody see what I have written. If it is resistive case, for example, you are applying the AC voltage, but the circuit involves only resistance. There is no inductance or capacitive component. So this means that is the resistive case. So what is the phase angle in case of the resistive case? What is the phase difference between voltage and current for resistance? That is 0 degree. You remember in the last class, we were learning that leading and lagging. I think one more classes back, we are learning leading and lagging. And I told you that thing, ELI is an Eichmann. So therefore for resistance case, phase difference is 0 between voltage and current. When it is capacitor, current leads voltage by 90 degree. When it was inductor, voltage leads current by 90 degree. So therefore, based on that, if I assume it is only resistive circuit, this will be 0. So therefore, you see, if this portion is 0, cos 0 is 1. So what you can say, your P average is half VMIM. And you see, it makes sense. Again and again, I am telling, I am referring to your DC circuit. Think about DC circuit. There was no cosine theta term involved to calculate the power. You simply multiplied voltage and current. And really it makes sense. Now it is proved. Because in resistive case, the phase angle is 0. That's why nobody were at all worried about what is the phase angle. You did not think about this thing because it was not needed in DC circuit. But once it is AC circuit, then it is very important. That is the first step, that what should be my angle. And that depends on whether it is resistance, inductance, or capacitance. Therefore, everybody say, if it would be capacitance or inductance, so what should be this angle? What should be this difference? Theta V minus theta I? What do you think?
90.
90 degree, correct. So you see, we learned that if it is capacitor, then voltage lags current by 90 degree. This means difference is 90 degree. If it would be inductor, then voltage would lead current by 90 degree. Therefore, in either case, whether it is capacitor or inductor, always this thing is 90 degree. So what is the cos 90 degree value? What is cos
0.
90? 0. So therefore, average is 0. So therefore, everybody keep in mind, in case of capacitor, pure capacitor, for example, you have a AC circuit and you are measuring the power across a capacitor. Current is flowing through the circuit and you want to measure the power across the capacitor. You will get 0. Your reading will be 0. Wattmeter will provide you 0 reading. Same thing, if you would measure power across an inductor, still you will get 0 reading. So this means that and what is that? What is the unit of this power? This is in watt. That you all have learned in DC. The unit of power is watt. But in case of I'm sorry, in case of inductor and capacitor, what is my power value? Power value is 0. That is in 0 watt. But then the question is, what is the function of inductor and capacitor? What can it do in the circuit? Because you have learned in DC circuit that inductor and capacitor can store energy, right? That you have learned here, and that is the role. But today, what I am telling you the new thing, that the average power across inductor and capacitor is 0. So therefore, then what is their meaning in AC circuit? So therefore, you see, I have introduced one term. Everybody see, I am coming gradually. For complex power, there are two power, active or real power, reactive or imaginary power. Therefore, this reactive or imaginary power is related to that inductor or capacitor. Therefore, when it is inductor or capacitor, they don't have any active or real power, because I showed you cos 90, so that will give you 0 value, but they will have enough reactive power. So now that is the question, that what is the reactive power? What is its significance? How can I measure and how do I understand what is the amount of reactive power? Those things I will be discussing today, and then followed by example. Okay, so then again moving forward. Everybody so far, could you follow me what I'm saying?
Yes.
Okay, great. And then you see this expression, the very last expression. If you put 0 degree here, then because this is getting 1, and then there is half VMIM, but I want to just express either in terms of IM or only in terms of VM. So therefore, everybody see, when this value is 1 because of resistive case, what is VM? VM is IM multiplied by R in the circuit. So in that case, you will be getting half R IM square. If you want to express in terms of voltage, what is IM? IM mean Vm over R. Therefore, you are getting half Vm square over R. So you see in a DC circuit, U is Vm square over R or Im square R. Only the half thing is the new thing that you are looking. But there is expression today I will show you in terms of RMS quantity. Even we can eliminate this half. If I express this Im and Vm in terms of this RMS quantity, that thing I will be looking pretty soon. Okay, so therefore moving forward, yes, everybody see that today at the beginning I told you that at your home you all know that your voltage is 120 volt, and I said that as an engineer you must understand that that is the RMS value. That is the RMS value. So therefore, once again, what I'm telling. Okay, let me clean off this thing. Everybody see, for example, you are at your home and you are measuring the voltage. Now, for example, you have an oscilloscope. This is the 0. You have an oscilloscope, and through oscilloscope, you are measuring the voltage and you are getting this type of waveform. Oscilloscope can give you this type of voltage waveform. That is, I mean, the quite sure. Now, you all know that this portion, it is called the peak from here to here, or the same thing in the negative side. This portion is called the peak value. So, or in other words, we say that this portion is the VM, which is the peak or the amplitude. Now, what I am telling that, for example, and you know that how to represent this one. This one is VM, that cosine of omega t. And then assume that, okay, there is a phase angle which is theta. So therefore, this is the general expression that you know. And then assume that this VM value here, just I am assuming this is 170 volt, this VM value. So therefore, everybody, if you have a calculator, what you do, you divide this number by √2. Everybody, you do that on, you do this thing. And then what is the result? Tell me. What number you are getting? Do you have calculator with you?
About 120.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. So you got 120 volt. You see? So this means that is the thing I want to explain today. At your home, you all know that your voltage is 120 volt, right? At least you know this fact. So what is this thing? How I got that thing? 170 over √2. Therefore, how I got this magic number? How I know that? That is the thing I will be telling you. So this means that if you really have an oscilloscope, if you really attach oscilloscope at your home at any plug point, then definitely you will see this type of response, and you will see that this magnitude, it should be like 170 here. But what I am telling, that we don't say that my voltage is 170 volt, because you see, this is the peak value only. But how we will say? We say 120, and how we will say 120? If I divide this peak by √2. So therefore, that is the thing I will be telling you now. Explain why I need to divide by √2. How I get this magic number. That is the thing. So therefore, let's me go back there. So everybody say that is the thing I will be learning now. Effective or root mean square value. So what is the definition? Everybody see, I have written something. The effective value measures the effectiveness of a voltage or current source in delivering power to a resistive load. And what is the main definition? The effective value of a periodic current is the DC current that delivers the same average power to a resistor as the periodic current. Because we are dealing with AC waveform, just now I showed you on the whiteboard. So what is the meaning of the effective value or RMS value of that periodic waveform? That is actually the DC current, which will deliver the same average power to a resistor as the periodic current. This means that if I apply AC waveform to a resistor, I will get a power which is average power. Now, if I apply DC source, I should get the same power, and that thing I will be telling the effective value of the AC waveform. So this is my definition. Therefore, everybody see, look the left side circuit. I have a resistive component. First, I applied the AC voltage, VT. Current flowing is IT. So then what should be the power in this circuit? As we have learned that we have to express in terms of average power. I mean, that is our conclusion, that we have to express in terms of average power. And this was my basic definition of average power. So that's why for this circuit, everybody look, this is my average power. I square R, current flowing, I square R, then integration of 0 to t 1 over t. T is the time period. Now, according to my definition, I am making an equivalence of these two circuits. This R value and this R value is the same. Here it was AC voltage. Here I used an equivalent DC voltage, this DC. So therefore, if this is DC, what should be my power now? Provided that this is the current. So I have used the symbol I effective. So P is I square R, that you all know from the DC circuit. So therefore, what is my definition? Once again, look everybody, effective value of the period is the DC current that delivers the same average power to a resistor as the periodic current. This is my definition of that effective value. So therefore, according to my definition, these two power should be the same. Therefore, everybody see, I have written down I effective square R equal to this value. So this R, I have taken this R here, that's R over T and this R. Therefore, everybody see, from both sides, like I cancelled R and it was the I effective square. So what is my I effective value? So then root over that portion. So now everybody see, that is the definition of effective or the root mean square. And it is called the root mean square. Everybody see, there are three things: root, then mean, and then square. Everybody see, this is my root. And what is this one? I am dividing by t. I am making average or I am making mean. And then square. Why it is square? Because I square. So according to this definition, mathematical term, it is called the RMS, root, then mean, and then square. So therefore, from today, as an engineer, you will be remembering this thing, that I effective of an AC waveform, it should be root over 1 over t, 0 to t, I squared dt. So if it is the same thing for the voltage. Similarly for voltage, this one, 1 over t, 0 to t, v squared dt. Same thing applies. Everybody, could you follow me what I am saying?
Yes.
Okay, great. Now everybody look, this is my equation number 1, everybody. And then on the left side, from equation 1, I want to little bit go ahead. I want to little bit manipulate. So everybody see what I did? This root over 1 over t. Everybody assume that I equal to Im cosine of omega t. You can see clearly this I was this I, AC, for the AC circuit. So therefore, everybody assume that I is Im cosine of omega t. So, and then there is a squared. So that's why I got Im squared cosine square omega t. And after that, because I have to make integration, Im square is going here. So Im square over t, that is fine. But then I want to apply again trigonometric identity here. Everybody look carefully. So how I can do that? If it is 2 cos square omega, what is the 2 cos square omega? 1 minus cos 2 omega t. Can you remember the trigonometry? 2 cos square theta, it is 1 minus cos 2 theta. So therefore, because I need to 2 here, accordingly I have to put 1/2. That's why you are looking the half here. So therefore, if you do 1 minus cos 2 omega t after applying trigonometric identity, then if you integrate, your cosine 2 term will be the sine omega t, and then that term will be 0. Ultimately, you will be getting t after putting the limit. So therefore, everybody see this one. This t cancel. And then after making, what you are getting? Im over root 2. This means effective value is Im over root 2. Similarly, what is the V effective? Vm over root 2. So what does that mean? What is that Vm? Vm was the peak value of the voltage waveform. So therefore, this Im was related to this circuit, AC circuit. So that over root 2. Effective value Vm over root 2. That's why from this knowledge, I did that one. Now, like everybody say, you see, that is the thing I was doing here, based on that fact. Because I know this is the peak value, I have to divide by root 2 to know the effective or RMS value. That's why at my home, when we say, I mean, we don't care. We just say, okay, at my home voltage is 120 volt. But as an engineer, you must keep in mind that that 120 is not this thing. That is not the peak. But really, if you attach an oscilloscope meter at your home, then you will get this type of waveform definitely for sure. And you will get this reading that is 170. You understand? The oscilloscope will not show you 120. If you simply use a voltmeter, only then you will be getting 120. Because voltmeter is designed directly to measure the effective value. But if you connect a oscilloscope, then you will, and you want to see the waveform, definitely you will see it is sinusoidal, and you can see this amount. Therefore, this amount will be root 2 times of this sum. This means 120 multiplied by root 2, that is your 170. Therefore, if you see 170 here through oscilloscope, I mean, typically voltage is not expressed in terms of this peak value. Voltage is expressed in terms of RMS quantity by default. That's why we don't care. We don't say it is effective value or average value or the peak value. Simply we say 120. But as an engineer, we have to remember that that is by default the RMS value or the effective value. You don't need to mention that, okay, effective value is 120 or average value 120, simply 120. But by default, you have to keep in mind that is the RMS value. That is the thing I'm saying. Okay.
So we would call it the peak RMS value, and then if we were to do the peak to peak RMS value, would that just be voltage peak to peak divided by 2?
Yeah, right. Sometimes in some electronics problem, you will need to mention what is the peak to peak value. So that is one thing. But when you need to say, okay, what is the voltage at your home? Just you say 120 volt. So, but in mind, you keep in mind that that is your actual RMS value. You don't need to say that, okay, RMS on 20. You don't need to use this order. You don't need. You know, you understand that that 120 volt is your RMS value. That I'm saying. Everybody, could you follow me?
So the effective voltage is equivalent to RMS voltage.
Yes, exactly. It is
But
the
what about like the effective voltage for peak to peak? How would you distinguish that? I mean, because
no. If it is peak to peak voltage, that thing you will be using what was the amplitude amount.
okay.
Yeah, peak to peak means that is the amplitude. Sometimes in electronic circuit you need. Okay, so therefore now moving forward, now I want to show you that concept of complex power, which was my using this thing. I still you understood what's instantaneous power, what is the average power, but I want to explain what is the complex power, this thing. So before moving this on, everybody, I think I need to talk a little bit here. Everybody see the very last term, or even you might look this term, just look this term. You see, this is the Vm and this is the Im. So these are the amplitude. So if I express these two terms in RMS quantity or effective quantity, so what will be the result? So this means that I want to replace these two terms in RMS quantity, like Vrms, Irms, effective value. So therefore, what will be here? It will be root 2 Vrms. It will be root 2 Irms. Right? So therefore, that root 2 will be 2. So 2 will be cancelled. So you can say V equal to Vrms Irms cosine of theta V minus theta I. So the same thing here, if you see, if you put Im is squared, so what is Im? Im is in terms of RMS, root 2 multiplied by IRMS. So therefore, E squared, that 2 cancel, you will be getting IRMS is squared into R. Same thing, in this case, 2 will be cancelled, VRMS is square over R. So everybody, could you follow me what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So therefore, this is the thing. If you express in terms of the peak value, then you have to use half here. But if you use the RMS quantity, VRMS, IRMS, then your this half is not needed here. Just VRMS, IRMS, cosine of theta V minus theta I. Same thing here. Just IRMS is square R, VRMS is square over R. So therefore, now go back to that complex part. What is the concept? Everybody see? Assume that VRMS, now I am using this symbol VRMS to make you understand. This is the effective value. So therefore, whatever it is RMS, like it has the phase angle, because you know AC is that phasor quantity. So I'm assuming that VRMS equal to VRMS angle theta V, which you can express in that way. VRMS e to the power j theta V in exponential form. Similarly, I am assuming IRMS is this one. IRMS angle theta I equal to IRMS this one. Now, what is my average power? I mean, just now I told everybody, average power is VRMS IRMS cosine of theta V minus theta I. Everybody look, I am not using half. This is the thing I am telling. If I use half, then I have to use VMIM. I have to use the magnitude or the peak value. But once I use that on, you see, RMS quantity, I don't need to use that half. So that's why, because here I am dealing with the RMS. That's why I did not use that half. Okay, I got this one. Now everybody, how I can write this thing? Look, V equal to real of VRMS IRMS e to the power j theta V minus theta I. So therefore, because my previous line, the first line was cosine of theta V minus theta I. So meaning that if I express in exponential form e to the power j theta V minus theta I, what is this? You will be getting cosine theta plus j sine theta. That's why I have written real of this e to the power j this one. Everybody, could you follow me what I am saying?
Where did you get the cosine?
Okay. So e to the power j theta, you see, okay, let me write down. Hold on. Everybody look this one. You know that e to the power j theta means, what is this one?
Cosine
Theta plus
sine.
j sine theta. So everybody see, when it is e to the power j theta, it has two components. This component, real component, and then plus j sine theta. This is imaginary component. Everybody, can you remember this one? This is called the Wheeler's identity. Can you remember this one? Wheeler's identity from the math?
Yeah, from differential equations.
Yes, exactly. So therefore, e to the power j theta is cos theta plus j sine theta. So e to the power j theta has a real component and imaginary component because it is complex number. This thing is called Wheeler's identity. So therefore, based on that, so let me say, based on that, you see, my first line was, everybody look, my very first line was VRMS IRMS cosine of theta, which is the real component of this. Now do you get it? Second line I have written real of, then in bracket I am writing VRMS e to the power j theta V minus theta I. This means if I use the Wheeler's identity, I will be getting two terms here, cosine of this one plus j sine of But what is the first term that I have written? That is the real part. That's why I am saying the real of this one is this one. Now
So you
that
don't
is-
take the imaginary or the sign.
No, I am
uh,
not taking because you see, that is the thing. Everybody look. What was my conclusion here? It is cosine. There was no sine term here.
Okay. All right.
This is, you see, everybody, this is my average power, or in terms of RMS quantity, VRMS, this one. There is no sine term here. So therefore, originally, I mean, we derived that there it is not sine, it is cosine. Based on that, I have written this very first line. And then I am saying that what is the meaning of this one? Meaning of this one, this is the real part. This is the real part of this one. Everybody, does it make sense?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Then now move forward. So what I'm real of VRMS. Now everybody say I am decomposing it into two components. One is e to the power j theta v multiplied by e to the power minus j theta exponential rule. Just decompose this one into two components, e to the power minus j theta and e to the power j theta v. So what I did here, see this one VRMS, and then I took this part e to the power j theta v, because actually that was my definition. E to the power j theta v was the phase angle of that VRMS, and IRMS and e to the power minus j theta. So I just organized in that way. Now everybody see the first portion VRMS e to the power j theta v. This portion is that VRMS. So for this portion I can write this is VRMS. But you see IRMS e to the power minus j theta I. What was my original definition? IRMS was e to the power here plus j theta I. But here I got minus j theta. This means this portion is the complex conjugate for the IRMS. Therefore, this is my IRMS. And what is its complex conjugate? Just the change the sign of the angle, e to the power minus j theta. Because I have e to the power minus j theta here, accordingly for this portion, I am writing IRMS conjugate. So meaning that, what is my conclusion? That average power phi is the real of VRMS IRMS conjugate. So therefore everybody concentrate this part, that VRMS IRMS complex conjugate. Definitely this portion is a complex number, right? That is the definition of complex power. So everybody see complex power, it is expressed by the bold symbol, I mean capital letter, and the bold is VRMS IRMS conjugate. Simply VI conjugate. This means that because this is a complex number, definitely it will have real part and imaginary part, right? For example, this is expressed in exponential format or in the polar format. Then you can convert into rectangular format. Definitely it will have one real part and imaginary part. That real part is called the real part and imaginary part is called the imaginary part. So this means simply I have written, you see that phi, average part, is the real of that capital S, complex part. So therefore now everybody see, I have represented this thing, complex part, is in terms of rectangle. You see phi, real part, this is my real part. And you all know that J means 90 degree. J means 90 degree. So that's why this is my Q. So therefore, this is a right angle triangle. This is base. This is perpendicular. This is hypotenuse. And then definitely with the hypotenuse, base is making an angle, which is theta. So therefore, what will be this magnitude? You all know. I have expressed by the symbol S, a small letter S. S is root over p square plus q square. Now you see, I have made a relationship here from this triangle, from geometry. What is my cosine theta? Phi over s, base over hypotenuse. That p over s, cosine theta, that is called the power factor. That is called the power factor. You see, today, like I introduced one term here, power factor, and I said complex power has two components, active or real power, reactive or imaginary power. And also I just wrote down here power factor. I am just waiting for this moment that I will explain you with the help of triangle. So therefore you see, this means AC complex power can be represented in terms of a triangle, which is called power triangle. In this power triangle, this axis phi is your real power, Q is your reactive or imaginary power. Now everybody see, because I wrote in that format, phi plus jq. So now, what was my original definition? Phi Vrms, Irms, cos theta v minus theta I, and then I am getting that on V Irms conjugate. Therefore, I will be getting two parts. P part is Vrms, Irms cosine theta. Q will be Vrms, Irms sine theta. Because you see, what is Q over S? That is the sine theta. P over S is cos theta according to trigonometry. But what is Q over S? You will get sine theta. That's why when representing Q reactive power, Vrms, Irms sine theta. And then this portion, you see this on the amplitude or the magnitude. So S is root over P square plus Q square. I mean the magnitude of this hypotenuse. That is called the apparent power. This means apparent power. I mean, see the difference? Bold S or capital S is called the complex power. And when I'm taking its magnitude or absolute value, that is called the apparent power. So therefore, everybody, as an engineer from today, you will be remembering that AC has like 4 types of power. This complex power, in the complex format, it is called complex power. Magnitude of complex power is called apparent power, which is this one. This power is called the real power, and this power is called the reactive power. Therefore, everybody 4 term. Real power, sometimes it is called active power. Q is the reactive power, sometimes it is called imaginary power. This is called the apparent power that you will be getting by making root over this square plus this square. And then phi over S, real power over the apparent power. This is called the cosine theta. That is called power factor. Now everybody concentrate this equation, real power equation. Phi equal to Vrms Irms cosine of theta. What is that theta? This theta is this theta. Or in other words, this cos theta is your actual power factor. So this means that what is the meaning of the power factor? What is the significance of the power factor? Power factor governs the magnitude. It controls the magnitude of real power. So tell me, what is the maximum value of cos theta? What can be the maximum value?
VRMS or 1.
You're right. The cos theta can be 1. So you see, and when cos theta will be 1, what is the condition? If theta is 0 degree, right? If theta is 0 degree. So everybody just look this one. This means that if the Q value is 0, everybody look, if the Q value is 0, what will happen? This hypotenuse will just be superimposed on it, right? Because if theta is 0. So this means your P over S, this will be 1 when theta is 0. So what is the meaning of theta 0? Answer me. If you have a resistive circuit, capacitive circuit, inductive circuit, in which case you will get theta 0?
Reactive circuit.
A resistive circuit, for resistive circuit, right? So
Resistive
this means,
circuit, yeah.
yes, only for resistive circuit, your theta will be 0. This means for resistive circuit, your power factor value is purely 1. And now everybody come back to DC circuit. In case of essentially, in case of DC circuit, your power factor value was 1. That's why this factor was 1. You simply multiplied voltage and current to get the power. Everybody, could you follow me what I am saying? But once it is AC circuit, it is not the case that always your theta will be 0, because circuit will have resistance, inductance, capacitance. All 3 components will be involved. So you can't say that your theta will be 0. It is very, very rare case that your theta will be 0. Always there will be some angle, maybe 10 degree, 50 degree, 80 degree. When it is purely purely capacitive or purely inductive, only then it will be 90 degree. That is the rare case. Theta will be 0 resistive. That is the rare case. Always in circuit, series circuit, parallel circuit, there will be combination of resistance, inductance, capacitance. Accordingly, always there will be some value of theta. That's why this factor, and then maximum value is 1. So your maximum power will be this number, Vrms, Irms. But if it is 0.5, then your power is getting half. If it is 0.1, your power is getting half. That's why this factor cos theta, this is called the power factor. When it is 1, then it is the maximum power. Otherwise, the power value will be low. And how is it determined that when the power will be high or low maximum? This is the main thing, this Q. Q will govern you. What is the value? As I said you, if you can make theta 0, meaning that your Q should be 0. But again, in real practice, you cannot make that Q 0. And that Q is the reactive or imaginary power. So, and then there is significant. What is that Q? So then I think today we are almost run out of time. In next class, at first I will explain you what is the significance of Q. What is that reactive or imaginary part? I will give you a real example, real world example, so that everybody can understand and get fun. But for today, everybody just hold here that power has two components, real power, reactive power, and then their hypotenuse part is called the apparent power. And then the overall complex quantity is called the complex power. Now, everybody, this complex power and then apparent power, these two are expressed in terms of volt ampere. Unit is volt ampere. The unit of real power, this one is watt, that you have learned. But the unit of reactive power is different. It is called reactive volt ampere. So, okay, so I will continue in next class, the unit and then followed by example. So far, everybody, could you follow me?
Yes.
Yes. At this point for today, as engineer, you just remember this terminology, that there is real power, there is imaginary power, apparent power, complex power. For today, and then see the definition of power factor, and then hold there, and then you will get more fun from next class. Once I solve some problem and I will tell you the significance Q, I will be talking much more about this one. So then you can distinguish what is the real power, what is the reactive power. For example, we have a television, and television is 60 watt. That is actually real power. That is not the reactive power. You have a heater, let's say 1000 watt heater. That is the real power. That is not the reactive power. So the question is then, what is the reactive power? Which one? That thing I will explain you. So as I said, as you can clearly see, this is the Q. But what is actually, why is it called imaginary power? Why it is called reactive power? So in next class, I will continue that one. Okay, so does anybody have any questions or comments?